On this week's episode of That Sound podcast, I have a guest with me. I have Micko on the line, in the chat, in the meeting, back again, our editor. Thank you for joining me this evening.
What's up, Luke?
What is happening?
All good, man. How about you?
All good. We have a good gig to discuss that both of us were at this week. We were at Russ on Tuesday night in the 3 Olympia.
Yes.
Compliments of MCD. So massive thanks to MCD Productions for having us at the gig to review the gig.
Yeah, big thanks to MCD for that. Appreciate it.
And we were very thankful to be there. Funny enough, we actually had bought tickets for this gig well ahead of time because we were both avid fans of Russ. And I suppose I should say a massive thanks to yourself, because I wouldn't have been very aware or familiar with Russ and his music if it wasn't for your interest in his art.
Yeah, I suppose that's a funny point to bring up because, you know, you don't hear about him that often just in Ireland. I feel like it's not very mainstream, but at the same time, he near enough sold out the Olympia there. So just proves that the fan base is there. And it's great that there's, you know, venues like the Olympia to host artists like that. I think it was a really well put together show and really enjoyed it.
I think it's very important, as you said, that there are venues there to accommodate artists and fans alike, especially crowds like that. And you had made a comment about the crowd when we went to the gig that it was clearly the diehard fans, because of the lack of radio play that Russ would receive in this country.
Yeah, I think, like, you know, it was the two. I mean, a lot of the songs, do not say even huge songs in his catalogue, not to talk about just in general. And, you know, he turned the beat off for 5 seconds and everyone's singing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. How dedicated the fan base is. You see it on social media and stuff, but to see that sort of stuff in real life is just special, really. It's very inspiring.
I know I don't really want to reverse engineer it, but while it's on the tip of my tongue, I might as well just say it now. When he did request for the crowd to give him some suggestions for one of his last songs to play, it was amazing that he himself had copped one guy's request far out in the crowd that he was like, wow, that song's like 12 years old. So you've been with it from the beginning, like, fair play, thanks for sticking around. And you would be similar to that, where you have been a big fan of Russ since the early days.
Yeah.
SoundCloud days.
Yeah, and even before it, actually, which is wild. Like the first song that I ever heard, not to go off topic, but the first song that I would have ever heard from him was one called High Def, which is probably, I don't know, 13 or 14 years old at this stage, which is kind of wild that it's that long. But yeah, happy to finally, you know, see him in person, and I suppose we'll get into more of like what the show was like. But yeah, it was really engaged fan base, which always helps.
Well, yeah, we started off the night. It was very cool. We started off the night by collecting our tickets from Rory at the box office. Big shout out to Rory. What a legend. And after that, we decided that the two of us had been running on empty most of the day. So we headed up the street to the good old Bunsen Burger.
Not too far up the street.
Not too far up the street that we'd get lost. Because as the perception of most people, the cultures do get lost in the big smoke and don't know our way around anywhere outside of our own town lands. But that was not the case on Tuesday.
You have to go to Bunsen. And for anyone who doesn't know, it's right beside the Olympia.
It's right beside the Olympia. And that was a recommendation from another good local podcast by jiu-jitsu coach and practitioner Andrew McGahan, who runs consistently above average. So check that out if you're looking for some good knowledge and some good insights. Anybody who practices a sport would benefit from the podcast greatly. And a lot of the jiu-jitsu guys know the good spots for food also. So Bunsen was definitely a great recommendation. one of the best burgers, if not the best burger in Dublin, hands down.
Good way to start the evening anyway. Yeah.
It was a good way. So after that, we headed back to the Olympia and to our seats, and we got to catch the first support act of the night, Chris Patrick.
Yeah, Chris Patrick. He is a recording artist, hip-hop artist from Jersey. Very good artist, brilliant. I first started listening to Chris probably about 2 years ago, so it was nice to see someone on the support list that I was familiar with already. So it's kind of like two shows in one. He played for about 20 minutes, and he was brilliant. We actually had a chat with him then after, Luke, didn't we, as well? So
we did, yeah. It was brilliant that we got to talk to him. He had been sitting in the same booth as ourselves, so it was nice to get to chat to him.
Yeah, really nice guy as well.
Really nice guy. He was very excited as he had found out he had some Irish heritage.
Yeah, which is always good. So yeah, Chris was brilliant, and then there was another DJ playing a few tracks for about half an hour or so before us come on at 9.
He was on at 9 on the dot.
Yeah, it was actually very punctual, wasn't it, the whole thing?
For sure, yeah.
Like and a lot of shows you go to you're kind of expecting, if it says 9, it's 9:30 or 20.
And the show was class. He didn't want to leave either.
Yeah, he played for 2 hours.
2 hours, just to the dot of 11.
2 hours straight, and the track list was very long as well. So, like, he played about 35 songs or so.
Was it really that long?
It was, yeah. I mean, some of them, as you know, they weren't the full songs. You know, some of them we did like one verse from, which is fair enough, and I think it's a good idea. Actually, it kind of it makes the people that know his whole catalogue, you know, it kind of plays to them because it makes them happy that they get to hear all the songs, but maybe introduces some of those songs to some people that aren't as familiar with all the songs as well. So
that is something.
It was great to hear like so many of the back catalogue from an artist that has so many songs and kind of can do that.
That's something I've recognised with the previous hip hop gigs I have went to, and as most people would know on this show, I would be from more of a rock background, or they were the shows that I went to predominantly when I was growing up. And I realised when I first went to see my first couple of hip hop gigs, double first there, sorry about that for the poor quality, but they don't always play the full song.
Yeah.
And I found that very weird at the time. What's going on? I'm going to see Eminem and Slain, or going to see Cole, or going to see Kendrick, or going to see Drake. But it's still really good that you get to hear, even if it is the first verse of your favourite. You mightn't want it to end. You're sat there like, oh no, don't do it.
Yeah, if it's one of your favourite songs or something. But I think it's part of the just what hip hop is. Like, obviously, if the verse is just straight rap, if it's 16 bars, or if it's whatever length it is, like, especially if it's not one of your top songs, like, not everyone's going to know every bar. So
yeah, intro,
from the artist's perspective, sometimes
verse,
you can be there
chorus.
like, the crowd doesn't really know this that well. Whereas if it's something more melodic or more R&B, you know, you can get away with kind of doing the whole track because people might know all the lyrics, but you don't want to be kind of spitting a verse to a dead crowd, in a sense. So there's probably a bit of that too. Not to say that,
lads
as we
standing
said, like,
there with their arms folded going, what's that lad on about?
Yeah, what's this song? Like, I don't know that one. And that's not to say that, you know, people at Russ wouldn't have known all the lyrics, but I think it's just kind of what hip hop is, isn't it? It's probably a good idea to do like a 1.5 minute, 2 minute version of a song rather than 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, or 5 minutes, or just keep going with it.
Yeah. So, did you have any of the like favorite songs that he played? Or
well, I really
favorite moments from the show.
I'm always very happy to see a really strong opener, and I thought opening within the dirt was just perfect.
Yeah, it's a great track, isn't it?
And it just had the crowd hooked from the get-go. Yeah. And he really came out strong. He's a great persona on stage. I find it's a little strange that it's just him and the DJ.
Do you think?
Yeah, and that's probably because most of the gigs I've went to, I've been used to seeing a band.
Yeah, like an acoustic. Yeah,
That you feel when the other musicians are maybe stationary or don't move as much as the main act, then the main act is more of a focus.
yeah,
Where sometimes if it's like just the main act and a bigger stage, I know he's still the focal point, but you feel you can see a lot of the space also.
yeah. I don't mind that. I think for hip hop, I think the beat itself is a lot of it, and the drums. You know, like it can be hard to replicate that when you don't record the track with
Acoustically,
acoustic
yeah.
drums. Like, you know, if you're just producing the song yourself or whatever, and you're using drum kits, and you know, you can kind of replicate the song 100% if you just play it like with a DJ, like you said, rather than having an acoustic.
Yeah, because a lot of those
supporting
songs would sound drastically different if he had a live band.
them. Yeah, exactly. And he did actually play 2 or 3 songs with the sort of orchestral instrumental rather than the actual
The
beat
full
from
track.
the song. Yeah, which one was? I think Cherry Hill he did with
The
kind of an
orchestra.
orchestral, and I think it was Drives as well. That he did with like an orchestra. There wasn't an orchestra on stage, but it was the backing track wasn't the exact same as the song, which I thought was, you know, cool way to kind of switch it up as well and just add another element into the show.
Yeah, no, it was cool for sure. Some of those orchestral tracks were very, very good. I enjoyed them immensely.
Yeah, very good. And the sound, as we were just saying, I was looking at a video that I took. I think the sound in the venue was great as well. Where we were sitting, it was quite loud too.
It was
Very loud.
unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah, extremely loud. And I mean, the 808s especially.
You could feel them in your chest like
You could
something
feel them.
else. Yeah.
So loud. Yeah, it was definitely one for ear protection.
Felt like a truck was just after going by, it was, you know, when you nearly step out in front of a car. Or if you're
I don't do that too often, like, to be honest.
I do it about 3 times every day. That's why I'm not allowed out of the house. But to be chaperoned everywhere
You
for
keep the ear
my own
protection
safety,
in.
not for the safety of other people. Yeah.
You need more than that. But when he played Nasty, the song Nasty, it is extremely heavy 808s. And I actually went downstairs into the standing area to watch that, and did a loop. And I did a loop through,
You
when
threw
you're coming
around.
into the Olympia.
Yes.
Right. You're kind of coming in through the hall where all the pictures are. I did a loop through, and the whole way you could just, the 808s were just shaking the hall. It was the only thing I could hear. I couldn't hear any of the.
You could
lyrics,
just hear
couldn't
the 808s or feel them more so.
It was just like the 808s were. You know,
That's
your headphones on,
unreal,
listen
man.
to just 808s type of thing. It was so loud. But yeah, it was a great sound though. It was really, really good.
Yeah, no, it was a class sounding gig. The sound team really put it on.
Yeah, it was very well run as well. Like, it was very easy to get in and out of as well, isn't it? Coming back, they just
It's
said, yeah, it
very
was
handy.
actually
Yeah, great venue.
Yeah, very like efficient.
Yeah, you're not stuck there for ages. Bar service is good. You know, the toilet access, class job. Everything's just handy in the Olympia.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose coming back to the track list, it was as we kind of touched on already. There were songs from way back in the catalogue, and then there were songs that he had kind of just released. A couple of ones that I would have been happy to hear were "Me You." He played Willy Wonka as well, which is a pretty old track. If you don't know that one, I'd suggest looking it up. He played Young God. He played, they were probably the 4 kind of older ones. And then he played Best Friend. He played The Wind off Santiago's latest album.
It was
Tunnel
very
Vision.
good.
It was very good live. Yeah, it was very good. He played Wife You Up, one produced by Scott Storch. Just loads of different,
The one
varied.
produced by Scott Storch was unreal. When you had said that to me, you're like, man, this one's produced by Scott Storch.
Yeah, it's very good. Really cool to hear those live as well. And I think a very broad range of kind of artistry as well, wasn't it?
For sure, yeah, there was a good mix of what Russ is actually capable of. It's definitely not one of those shows, or he's not one of those artists where everything sounds the same. He's definitely grown in his journey, which is, what should I say, a sign of any great artist.
Yeah, it's kind of all you can ask for, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah,
Getting
for
better,
sure.
but kind of improving the music, but still staying true to your own sound, really, in a way, and holding your own sound, really.
And there are some more tracks of Santiago that I would have loved to hear myself, but I have to mention the song I Love You Boy. He had played that, and he had spoke at the start of a lot of songs, some of them that were deeply personal to him or that played on certain emotions, and he would explain what state of mind he was in or how he came to create that song or what the creative process behind the song was like. And for that song, I Love You Boy, he spoke about, what should I say? He spoke about
the verse itself, read it out.
Yeah, the verse itself, he spoke it as poetry after he performed. Was it the full song for that one? I think it was the full song. And then he had cut the beat and he spoke about it before and after the song. And then he read the verse like poetry. And for those of you that don't know, it is verse 2 of the song. And you know, the lines he had spoke were like, the monster you created to protect the kid in you is hard to manage. Supreme confidence, deeply crippling insecurity. The damage that's been done is explicit and abusive and a critic. Nothing that you ever do is really good enough, is it? And it goes on. The next one is very powerful for a lot of people will feel they might fight with this emotion from a certain person, not the person necessarily that's mentioned. But he says, you didn't get validation from your dad, so you replaced him with the industry and started to rap. You wanted praise and acknowledgement and picked a profession that people who look like you don't get. Now the range of accomplishments. Being ignored, authoritative outside force that you yet again apparently aren't good enough for. All fueled you, your need to be liked and feel wanted consumed you. That's why you call a check every night to come do you. Only to be left feeling less than before. Didn't have the tools to manage stress. You're at war with yourself. You need love. Drinking to forget that being you is not enough. Overcompensating in interviews, trying to prove that you're right. Maybe then you'll be liked. Trying to prove you're worthy of approval you weren't shown in your home. I'm sorry that I ever left you alone. Some powerful, powerful lyrics there. And
great verse. Yeah.
A great verse, and hits the same way when you read it off a page, maybe even deeper than when you hear the music behind it. It can be sort of a bop, or you can really nod your head and feel like you're getting into the groove and the flow of it. I think they hit that wee bit harder when you read them.
Yeah, I suppose that can be the thing about music, is sometimes you talk about things in music that you don't want to talk about in real life.
Yes.
It can mask it a bit, you know. Sometimes when you step back and read a verse, you're like, oh, that's actually, that's, maybe I didn't catch that when I listened to it, or
it hit hard.
A different way. Yeah.
And when he had stepped away from, the mic at the end of that, you could see that it really was something that was very emotional to him, was deeply emotional.
Yeah. Which comes across when you're performing it, doesn't it?
Very genuine too.
Yeah, that was really, really good to hear that song as well. I know that's one of your favourites off the album.
For sure, yeah, and I thought it reflects and it does show that sort of supreme confidence, because he wasn't afraid. He's not afraid to be vulnerable.
Yeah, which is important, not just in music, but obviously in life as well.
Yeah, for sure. Great verse, and I think that speaks to a lot of people.
Yeah, I'd imagine so, yeah. We should say it's kind of the tour that's supporting his latest album, really, isn't it? That it's really a year old at this stage. It came out in August 2023, called Santiago.
Really? Already?
Yeah, it's crazy.
14 months. It honestly seems like, I don't know, 6 months ago it came out.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? which is wild. But it was the tour is called "It Was You All Along" tour. Just to kind of round it off. So yeah, brilliant show overall. I really enjoyed it. Played for 2 hours, as you said, about 35 songs, loads of energy. Just really well put together.
What was your favourite moment from the night?
That is a good question. Just having to look back through the track list. I don't know if I had a favourite song. I really like "Pull the Trigger." That was really good.
It was good, yeah.
It's a great song, and that's one of the tracks that kind of, I suppose, elevated him back in the day on when like Snapchat was new. Kylie Jenner shared that song on her Snapchat.
On her Snapchat?
Yeah.
No
Which
way.
goes to show how long back we're talking, I suppose, doesn't it? You wouldn't really hear that as having as big of an impact today. Like,
well, we were in like second year when Snapchat hit, weren't we? First year?
Probably first year. Yeah,
first year, yeah.
Like we were like 13. So it's a long time ago. It's longer ago than we want to admit, really, like, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm off Snapchat like 2 years now at this stage.
Yeah, same as that, yeah.
I just decided to delete it because...
You hit a certain age and it's not the way for it, is it?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's more the thing that I felt I spoke to the same people on the platform as I did on Instagram, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and that also had my number by text. It's like, what? 5 different personalities on 5 different platforms. Don't get me started about Twitter and all the burner accounts.
All the burner accounts you have?
I do not have any Twitter burner accounts. I don't even operate the That Sound one. Even though we have a page, I really need to get on that.
No, we'll get that back up and running. Or just running in the first place. I don't know.
You're like, don't lie, it was banned.
I hope not. That's your fault if it was. But, yeah, I suppose like some of the favourite songs, yeah. Like it was great hearing "Pull the Trigger," "Young God," "Working on Me," which is only a new enough track. As I said, "Willy Wonka," "Wife You Up." Just loads of really, really great tracks like "Me You."
315 was unreal live. Yeah, "Do It Myself" was class. Yeah. You played it twice.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
what
it was
about
so
you? Did
good.
you have a favourite moment?
I just liked the words of encouragement that he spoke before certain songs.
Yeah, he was big in kind of cutting in, wasn't he? As I cut into you.
No, not at all. Not at all. I really enjoyed that. I thought that would have been deeply beneficial for any artist in the crowd that is aspiring to elevate themselves into the position that he's in, to keep going, to keep working, to keep applying yourself, and even when you feel like you're not getting anywhere, you just keep putting in the work. And we had spoke about that, I think, off camera as well, or not off camera, after the gig on the drive home, when we spoke about his success and his rise to fame and the numbers. Remember, he had a post about his stream numbers a couple of years ago that it was like, 600 a month to 6,000 a month to 16,000 a week and then he had his earnings were like, he was doing $60 to $400 to like 12 grand to 65 grand all in the space of like 4 months.
Yeah.
To show you that once you just keep applying yourself and you have that back catalogue, then people are going to tune into the rest of your music after they find the one that they really like.
Yeah, compounds, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just all paying compound interest, paying dividends, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose it's testament to being independent as well, where you can do that and have control over your own career, really. Which
huge.
Is he's a big advocate for.
I think that's something we could probably talk about as well in depth on maybe another episode, as mad as it is. We don't want to sort of hijack this one on a 25-minute rant, or I don't, because I feel I could talk about it for a long time. But I had mentioned it to a podcast guest that we had on last night. With Russ being independent, you don't hear him on Irish radios, and a lot of people might not be familiar with him. but they would be very surprised at his earnings and his streams. You know, like you might think to yourself, all right, he only sold out the Olympia. But after he pays for the venue and pays for his team and the merch, he's keeping every dime.
Yeah.
And arguably, that could be more profitable to him than a 3 arena gig where they sell out everything but the label gets a major cut.
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, not to hijack this episode, because it's definitely a topic that kind of demands, I think, in today's music environment, like its own episode. But for an artist like that, touring actually wouldn't be as high a profit margins as just making a song and releasing it and knowing that you're going to get a certain amount of streams, because when you own it yourself, there's no overheads and you just keep everything. Touring's very expensive. It's gotten even more expensive in the last 3 or 4 years.
And especially in Ireland with insurance rates.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me today, I had made a remark that, that country's not not as expensive as Ireland. And he had said, yes, not many countries are.
Yeah, I think Dublin's the most expensive city in Europe now, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. It's broken.
Yeah.
The simulation we live in is broke.
Yeah, live in a society, man.
Yeah.
No, I think that's enough on the independent thing for now.
I'm just going to put it out, but I would like John Bellion to come on the podcast to talk about this issue with the two of us.
Yeah,
and
that would be a good episode.
I think that could go for about 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, at least.
That'd be something else. Sean's got a lot to say on that front.
Yeah, 6 years worth, I think, but it sounds of it, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Which is wild.
That'd be crazy. I can only imagine how that man felt at certain times. I'd say he was just going to throw the hat at it all and go back to making coffee or making sandwiches down the street and just disappear.
Yeah, too many stories of that really, there wasn't there, of bad deals. But
yeah, it seems to be all too common this weather. Or it's important to have a good team around you or to be aware of these things. Really
inspiring to see an artist like Russ in person who has done it his own way. And I think any musicians should consider, trying their best to do it too, because it's possible, and when you see it in person, you see the kind of fruits of it. It kind of just drives it home that it is real.
Yeah, for sure. And it's achievable.
Yeah.
It's achievable if you put the work into it. And that's not taken away from anyone who might be listening to this and thinking, I am putting the work in. We're sure you are. But keep it going. Don't let anybody else take the wind out of your sails. Just keep putting in the hours.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and if anything to be taken from that verse of Russ's too, don't look for the outside validation. If you're doing it for yourself, it's going to be a success to you.
Can't lose.
Yeah. You can't lose. It's a win-win. Have you anything else to add about the show at all, Michael?
No, I don't think I have. I just thought it was funny the way you went for a pint of Guinness and Walsh's as well. I've actually never been in Walsh's, have you?
No, either have I. I don't know where it is.
Terrible. Yeah, we must hit up Walsh's.
We must sample. I have to find it funny that he wanted to scull the pint of Guinness and tried to scull 2 of them, and 3/4 or 2/3 of the way down was like, this is tough, and then managed to finish it. And I had said to one of the DJs that were sitting beside us in the booth from the support act, she was laughing and she was like, you guys like to drink here. I was like, yeah, but not like that. It's like, I don't know many lads who would neck a pint of Guinness or are known for necking a pint of Guinness.
No, definitely not.
It's a sure way to yeah, a sure way to regurgitate the liquid. Which wouldn't be good.
No, it's never good. But yeah, that's it. No, I think just great show overall.
Yeah, really good show.
Great evening.
A massive thanks to MCD for having us again.
Big thanks to MCD again.
Big shout out to Chris Patrick.
Yeah, great to
Fourth
meet.
act.
Great to meet Chris as well.
Great.
Great artist. Check him out as well. Who knows? There may be some Chris and Micko coming up. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, there might be a collab in the building.
Could be.
You'll have to keep your eyes peeled and see what happens.
Yeah.
And yeah, go check out Russ if you haven't heard from him. See what you think. And we will chat to you soon.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thanks a million. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, Mike. See you.